Good morning. The Distinguished Service Award, which I have the privilege of presenting this morning, was created in 1996 to honor PRIM&R members who have had a significant impact on the field of research ethics and have attained distinction in promoting our purposes and ideals through teaching, writing, and research. Past recipients have included M.J. Shepard, Yvonne Higgins, and Jeremy Sugarman. The 2014 recipient of this award is well known to most of you from her decades of work in the field and her deep connections with PRIM&R. She's been involved as a planner and presenter at our research ethics conferences for more than 30 years. Indeed, back to the time when PRIM&R was a much smaller organization with little by the way of staff, and she would help to collate the materials, pick up the donuts, and deliver any leftover food to the homeless shelters. This year's awardee is probably best known to you from her many appearances as a faculty member at our conferences. She's a gifted teacher and a fabulous mentor. Having served for 27 years as the executive coordinator for the Committee for the Protection of Human Subjects at the University of Texas Health Science Center, Houston, and for the past 10 years as a special advisor for human subjects research and faculty at its Center for Clinical Research and Evidence-Based Medicine. She knows as much about research ethics and the common rule as anyone, anywhere. And equally important, she is generous in sharing her knowledge, not only as a faculty member for IRB 101 courses, but as a mentor to anyone who needs her help. PRIM&R recently ran a conference on the boundaries of research, and it occurs to me that we might have named it in her honor because she embodies the puzzle of how to discern boundaries. Where does common sense end and sophisticated expertise begin? Where does demure charm end and steely determination begin? A casual observer might be easily fooled, but anyone who has seen her in action knows that through her knowledge and her fierce adherence to the highest principles of research ethics, she can untangle the most difficult issues and help institutions to reach the right result without breaking a sweat, banging the table, or raising her voice. People simply become enlightened and persuaded and find themselves agreeing with her. Like any organization that has reached the age of 40, PRIM&R has its share of peculiarities, rituals, and customs. One of them, which is intended to make the other customs and rituals seem a little less odd or at least a little less mysterious, is a system of board buddies. So a few years back, when I joined the PRIM&R board, I got a call from our awardee who said that she was going to be my board buddy. Little did I know how very fortunate I was. She not only explained the issues with which the board was grappling and provided insightful and amusing descriptions of my fellow board members, but she made sure that I felt absolutely welcome. Mentor and mother, and she is that, and grandmother and great-grandmother to boot. Her very dear friend and PRIM&R's Executive Director Emerita, Joan Racklin, recently reminded me of the lines of a poem by the late Maya Angelou, whose narrator tells us, "I don't shout or jump about, or have to talk real loud." If you recognize those lines, you'll know that the title of that poem perfectly describes our awardee, a phenomenal woman. So it is with great delight that I ask wonderful mentor, talented teacher, board buddy, and phenomenal woman, Paula Knudson, to come to the stage to receive the 2014 Distinguished Service Award. The inscription on the bowl, Public Responsibility in Medicine and Research, 2014 Distinguished Service Award, presented to Paula Knudson in recognition of her distinguished leadership and commitment to mentoring and teaching those in the PRIM&R community and the greater field of research ethics, December 6, 2014.
Shall I hold this for you?
Oh my. So, there's an old vaudeville routine, and yes, I am that old, which goes, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, my Aunt Sadie thanks you, but I want to say thank you for the words of praise, even if none of it is true. But mostly I want to say thank you to PRIM&R for providing a place to learn, to grow, to stretch the imagination, and to network and be involved. PRIM&R provides a unique opportunity for people like you and me, and I most specifically want to thank Joan Racklin for guiding this wonderful organization from its infancy to its spectacularly well-earned reputation in the world of biomedical research ethics. Who would have thought it all possible 40 years ago? Joan did and made it happen. But I also want to take the opportunity to offer a cautionary tale. This tale begins in 1977, when with a lot of good feeling and sense of purpose, I embarked on my life in research ethics. In those early days, before the Belmont, before any of the regulations, we as IRB members and directors had to think very hard about how to do the best possible for the rights and welfare of the humans involved in the protocols we reviewed. Sooner than I would have liked, we began to move from this unstable, frequently conflicted viewpoints with different moral positions taken and acknowledged and resolved to that of a checklist mentality. If it was pediatric research, did we have the right citation in the regulations? And did we have the signature issue solved? Had we given any thought to where the consent process would occur and who would conduct it? And did we content ourselves with simplifying the form, all 29 pages of it? Have we really paid attention to diversity in our subject populations? Do we give more than lip service to the concept of justice? And above all, the overwhelming mantra, are we in compliance with the regulations? Not is what we have done in accord with Belmont or even just with common sense. We have become mired and entangled in, and life made more complicated by this mantra of compliance, by bureaucracy and splitting of hairs. Amongst other things that disturb is the fact that we strayed far from the path that Dr. Beecher offered in his seminal article in 1966, when he said, quote, "There is no more reliable safeguard provided than by the presence of an intelligent, informed, conscientious, compassionate, responsible investigator." We think more about the past and less about the future, and I am eager to see a sea change in that direction, and I'm heartened by the ideas embodied in the learning healthcare system. We need to rethink risk. We need to rethink consent. We need to rethink privacy and confidentiality. We need to rethink how best to use already acquired data. We need to encourage and facilitate QI research, comparative effectiveness research, and we need to rethink what we really mean by risk in research. We need to take chances and push boundaries, and in this era of dwindling resources, shouldn't we also start thinking is this research worth doing? For if we don't, and here is the cautionary tale conclusion, we stand in danger of losing our moral high ground and this entire edifice that we have invested so much in. Thank you to the Board of Directors for this award. It is a grand gesture and one of the outstanding events in my long life of meaningful experiences. Thank you.